standing. I will be standing during the talk. You will also be standing. So if you want to sit down, please do it now. It's dangerous, huh, to just stand. The speaker might tell you, okay, remain standing. Thank you very much, thank you very much. And I see familiar faces here. Of course, Bishop Tagle. I think I saw the shadow of Bishop Amantillo. There. No, the Bishop of Baclaran Church. And you have some priests and religious. Yeah, some of them were my companions pa in Cavite. So, dito na kayo assigned, sister? Be good, ha? It's good to remind each other. Having a recollection, especially as we face an important exercise of our being citizens and hopefully citizens who espouse and follow the teachings of the Lord. This requires really a lot of space, sacred space, for us to be able to enter into our hearts, purify our minds and our hearts, join the Filipino people in such purification, and also take the steps necessary so that our purified dream could come true. It has been a special part of my ministry so far to offer recollections to candidates. When I was the bishop in Cavite, we would gather the candidates before the election or at the time close to their making a decision whether they would run or not, to a recollection, for them to be helped by the Word of God. And before the last presidential election, we also had, we invited the candidates, the presidency, vice presidency, the Senate and Congress people to a recollection. And some of them attended. We held it in the Wakwak Golf Club in is that Mandaluyong pa? Green Hills yun. O sa San Juan, you see. I don't know my geography yet. Yeah, San Juan. And I was surprised, aside from the candidates themselves, a lot of lay people came. You can double our number. And they came. We all have had experiences of listening. At the same time, I'm sure all of us have had experiences of not listening. Maybe if we compare the number of times we truly listened to the number of times we failed to listen, I think we would humbly admit that we all encounter some difficulties in listening. And we get hurt when other people do not listen to us. We expect others to listen to us. But before we expect them to listen, we have to ask ourselves, am I also good in listening? Or am I becoming an expert in non-listening? If we had a whole day, I would have broken you up into small groups for you to tell each other stories, horrible stories, but when you failed to listen. Now, I am a teacher, and I continue teaching now. I have a feeling that I might die in the classroom. Yeah, as a student myself, I have developed the art of non-listening. And when I examine my conscience, I realize that on some days, I am just too preoccupied with some concerns that I have no interest in the subject matter being taught. Not that I want to disrespect the professor, but my mind, my heart are focused on something else. And because of that focus, I defocus from the others. I don't listen anymore to this. Or I can deliberately decide not to listen. If I am prejudiced, oh, this teacher, he really does not know what he is talking about. So, I know his degree is in computer science. Why is he teaching us Trinity? Something like that. I don't know. Well, it never happened. It never happened in my lifetime. But, you know, some students will say, why will I listen to that teacher? Or, for example, a seminarian, they will say, why will I listen to that professor or seminary spiritual director who tells us do not smoke? But then you see them smoking. Why will I listen? So I decide, no, you are not worth listening to. So I decide not to listen. But I'm sure you also have had a lot of experiences about listening. May I know how many of you are mothers? Mothers, okay. Mothers. Sister, why are you raising your hand? Are you mother superior? Parang she hesitated. Yeah. Well, mothers tell me, and even my own mother, even if their child is far away, somehow they can hear, know the heart of their children. And they know when something is bothering their child. They are experts in listening, even to non-verbal communication. Those of you who are married, that is usually one cause of irritation. Like the wife, you're preparing coffee, and you're telling your husband some things. How many times will I tell you that after reading the newspaper, please fold the newspaper, and put it in the right place, and then you turn, your husband is no longer there. He has already gone to work. And you feel bad. This person does not listen. But then you confront your husband in the evening, and the husband tells you, but we have been married 30 years. And I've been telling you that adobo has vinegar. And for 30 years you have not listened. Children always complain. My parents, my teachers, my parish priest, they don't know how to listen to the young. They just love to talk down on us. Not even talk with, talk down on us. But they don't listen. And then I say, I'm sorry, but do you listen to them? I'm sorry, okay. So let us start. This is one area that we all long to be granted. We want a listening ear to be turned to us. And we also know that is expected of us by other people. But this very basic element of human life, and as we will see, of the spiritual life, is like an elusive bird of paradise. You think you have already gotten hold of it, and all of a sudden you realize, no, it has flown again. It is a precarious achievement. We may be in the mood to listen one moment, and in the following moment, the next moment, it's gone. A few minutes ago, we all said yes to Gladys that the merienda will be at the end. We listened. No, I don't know. How long will that listening last? Sister, gutom na raw si sister. Kaya na. I think, sister, you will listen to your stomach. I am making you laugh because it's really laughable. It's really laughable, no? And it also makes us, in a way, more sympathetic and compassionate. We demand of others, and in this case, we demand of our public servants a listening ear. But realizing ourselves how difficult it is to listen, then maybe we can encourage them. Maybe we can understand what are the hindrances to listening, because we ourselves have experienced them. Before I leave this, I was in one recollection, and one of the participants said, you know, Bishop, I easily get impatient with my cook, and I want to change that. So I asked her, what triggers that impatience or anger? She said, well, she always forgets the menu. I tell her, I instruct her, and she always forgets. She is very forgetful. And I hate it when I have to pound it on her all the time. So I said, okay, but do you have grandchildren? She said, yes, I have 11. Do you remember all their names? And then she got my point. She smiled. And I said, look, when your cook forgets, you should be the first one to say, you know, you are no different from me. We are both forgetful. So I understand. So instead of me being impatient with you, why don't we help each other? Wives, if your husband calls you darling, honey, beware. Maybe your husband has forgotten your name. Talaga. So when you get home, confront him, say, stop calling me honey. What is my name? And you'll be surprised. You will be surprised. Another name might come out. Also, if the grandmother forgets the names of the grandchildren, if the husband can forget the name of the wife, why can we not empathize with a cook who probably became a cook because she is not an Albert Einstein? Maybe she's not a genius. So, no. This example is an example of listening. When we talk of listening, especially from the biblical perspective, listening is not just opening an ear and a brain to words. In fact, the most profound type of listening is when I am able to empathize, when I am able to penetrate the world of the other person. And from that world, I begin to understand and I begin to love. The reverse of listening is not just lack of attention. Maybe the lack of attention is just a symptom that something deeper is not happening. Maybe the person is not connecting with the other. Maybe this person who has a difficulty in listening cannot get out of his or her world so that he or she can hear from within the world of the other. Insensitivity to others may be a mark of the failure to listen. And because I don't listen, in the sense of because I fail to appreciate the world, the heart, the condition of the others, I am deaf to them, then I'm very close to being not only insensitive, but also abusive. I was in a meeting of people with disability, and that particular meeting was devoted to the hearing impaired, the deaf. So through the help of an interpreter, we were trying to understand their condition. And through the interpreter, it was brought to my attention that many of them are not married in church, and their children are not baptized. So here I am. I told the interpreter, please tell them, if money is their problem, they don't need to worry about it. They don't need to have a big feast and this fancy clothing. They can come to the church and they can have it not for gratis. No fanciful things. So, and then they also rose. And then it was translated to me. A very simple thing. They said, Bishop, if a deaf person goes to any parish, is there a priest or a secretary that can communicate with the deaf? And I just bowed and said, I'm sorry. This is the group that is not listened to. And they are not preparing to listen to them. Thus I was very happy when we had a celebration of the Eucharist in the Manila Cathedral for the people with disability, to encourage them, the deaf, those in wheelchair, to encourage them to participate in the electoral process. And we invited COMELEC officials to be sensitive, to listen to them. Sometimes our programs, even our physical setup, are all geared towards those who are healthy, those who can walk, those who can hear, those who can speak, etc. And there is a whole group that are not listened to. I really was devastated. I misjudged them. It was a signal that this is one sector that I have not listened to. I have not entered their world. So we started integrating them into the community. And one Christmas party, the deaf children joined us. No? So there was a game. No? So those children that could hear, those children with hearing impairment, there was a game. No? According to the one facilitating, he said, when I blow the whistle, you run. I said, okay, okay. So, and only one group ran. We forgot again. There is a group of